Hi everybody, welcome to another podcast episode. Today I'm very excited to be talking about the last week of preliminary rounds of the women's VNL and to start talking about the finals which are coming up starting on the 12th of July. And we have our 8 finalists, so let's have a look at how they did in their last week of the preliminary round and at their odds of winning the VNL this year. I want to start very randomly with my favorite team, which is Turkiye, Turkey. So the first thing I want to say is they played their third week without their superstar, newly acquired superstar, Melissa Vargas, which I think was an extremely smart move. On the one hand, they let her rest for 3 weeks, which is very important. And on the other hand, this really showed the Turkish team that they can win without her, that they're a great team even without her. She's an amazing addition, but they won 3 of their 4 games, and the first game they lost against Japan, Daniele Santarelli, their coach, during the first week said something like, winning is good, but losing sometimes is also good. And I really think this is what happened this time. They played against an extremely fast-paced team, or I would say fast-paced when it comes to defense and digging. Japan is incredible at that. It was a really entertaining game. They just wouldn't let a ball fall on the ground. And they won in 5 sets against Turkey. And I think that really shook them up to the core because they showed up for the following games, all guns blasting. They did switch the outside hitters a lot, and they kind of found their strength with İlkin Aydın and Derya Cebecioğlu. Right now, they're probably the most consistent outside hitters. And they came in their match against Thailand. They swept Thailand in 3 sets. And then they incredibly swept Brazil in 3 sets. It has to be said, Brazil didn't play that well. I don't know what was going on with Gabi that day, but Turkey showed up. So yeah, a lot to be said for this Turkish team, even without Vargas. Of course, then they beat Croatia. Too bad for Croatia. They risk getting eliminated from the VNL. They will go to the Challenger Cup, which I'm really looking forward to. This is a side note, but the Challenger Cup will have Sweden with Isabel Haak, which I would love to see in the VNL next year. So I'm definitely rooting for Sweden at this point. But that's an aside, that's something else. Let's get back to what we were talking about. Turkey will match against Italy. Now let's have a look at this Italian roster. It's not the roster that won the VNL last year. And Paola Egonu is not coming back even for the finals. She's resting, very well-deserved rest. I'm a fan of letting them rest a bit, not a week or 2, but give them a month and a half of rest, give those muscles, give those tendons, all of that stuff. Let them rest, let them recover, and get back when it really, really matters. I'm sure Paola Egonu will show up for the Olympic qualifiers in September, so no worries about that. But let's have a look a little bit of how the matches went for Italy in the third week of the VNL. So Italy did go down in 5 sets against Brazil, and then they prevailed over Canada again in 5 sets. And Canada really had a chance to qualify for the finals, so that was an important game for them, and it was an important game to win for Italy. Italy did what it needed to do. They had Anna Danesi as a middle blocker. She's, together with Miriam Silla, the only very experienced player. Miriam Silla got injured. And we saw some players step up, like Silvia Nuakalor, Alice Dagradi. So we have these young players stepping up, and I'm really, really curious to see how they will do against Turkey. But if I had to give my odds, I think the odds are swayed in Turkey's favor because of their experience, because of their firepower. If everybody is ready on the Turkish side, it will be hard for Italy. I would be surprised if Italy wins against Turkey. The second match up I want to talk about is the first qualifier, Poland against the 8th qualifier, Germany. This is the only quarterfinal where we already have had a preview in week 3. Germany and Poland have played against each other in Korea, and Germany was really able to dominate on Poland in the first set. They had a wide gap of 10 points. From the beginning, I think they started with 6-0. They were putting a lot of pressure on them from the service line. Poland did end up winning in the 5th set. If this tells us anything, is that it will be a good game between these two teams. Let's go and have a little look at USA versus Japan. USA second qualified, not first, which might be a little bit surprising if we didn't pay attention to how amazing Poland has been this year. But both Poland and the United States won 10 matches, which is quite remarkable. The difference was 1 point because the USA won a lot of their matches 3-2. I'm looking out at the stats. And the USA won 4 matches 3-2, which is, guys, it is a really good sign. It's not a bad sign. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being incredibly clutch, which the United States are always. And I do think a lot of it is due to their incredible coach. Karts Corrali is a very cold-blooded. He can be a quiet coach, but he's not afraid of speaking up when needed. So we have the USA against Japan, and yeah, we have 2 great defensive teams. I do think, again, the odds are highly swayed in favor of the United States. Japan is a really smart team. It's a team that, as I said 1,000 times, can keep the ball off the floor, can extend rallies. But it's a team that can be blocked. It's a team that can be beaten. And I do think the United States are out for revenge this year after winning 0 medals last summer, which they did not enjoy. Obviously, they were 4th in the World Championship. Player to watch out, Annie Drews. When that girl's on fire, everything's on fire. It's really hard to beat that team when Annie Drews has a good day. Now let's look at the very last matchup, which is Brazil-China. I really cheer for Brazil to win this one. Yeah, I might be a bit biased, but I'm not a huge fan of China. It's not a team that I necessarily love watching. I hope to be proven wrong. Brazil, on the other hand, is a very charismatic team. And it would be a pity to see them exit the VNL in the first round of the finals. I want to see their pride come back. I want to see Thaisa and Carol block everything. I'm not sure if Kissy will be back as an opposite, but I'm sure Gabi will stay. And yeah, we need to talk a little bit about the pressure on Gabi. Maybe that's what's holding her back right now. I'd be surprised to think that because she is used to playing at a really high level on really big stages since she is the captain of Akufbank, and they've won all sorts of accolades. But yeah, I hope they will come back in these quarterfinals and that we will see them in the semifinals. So that's it, you guys. Thank you for watching and listening to this podcast, and see you next time.